And we are recording. Okay. So, hello everyone. So today we're meeting just because of we're going to review the mandatory guidance document for our staff, the Word document. I'm just going to pull it up here. The session was going to be in English, but if you do have questions in French, we're going to do the same as last time where we can answer in French and then we'll just translate. The reason why this is really important, and I've been getting phone calls and I've been hearing the same information, is the stats is taking so much time, and this is taking away from our time with our clients. But I just want to put some emphasis, or to just kind of clarify that it's really important to do these stats because we are in a pilot phase. This basically will help us justify our raison d'être, like our reason of why, the purpose, or the true meaning as to why this pilot needs to be a success, and that it is a need that all veterans and their families who are medically releasing need this service. So we already did a Webex presentation previously going through this document, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go line by line, and we're going to look at,
Hi there, just one note before we start. Hi, I'm Jonathan from Military Family Services. So just to let you know who's in the room with us here, so Rachel, and then myself, and then Aaron as well. I know many of you already know that, but just so that you know who's in the room with you here.
Yeah, sorry, we did the introduction before, but then we clicked record, so that wasn't part of the Webex, and I kind of went with it. I'm sorry. Okay, so we're going to go line by line, and I'm just going to give a bit of a scenario to what this guidance document. So for each table, I'm going to give a small example or scenario, and if you have questions on that particular table, let me know. Like, just either hello.
Did someone just join us on the teleconference?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi there. This is Jonathan Pratt from Military Family Services. Who just joined us?
Caitlin from Esquimalt.
Hi there.
Hi. Sorry I'm late.
That's okay. We're just starting, Caitlin. This is
Good.
So it's Rochelle, and we also have Aaron from the RMFS team around the table, and then we have Pamela, Tina, Marie-Claude, and Marie-Ève. Is Marie-Ève present as well?
Yes.
Yes, okay, so we have Marie-Ève and Marie-Claude. We might have more people joining us as we go through this, because I got a couple emails saying that some coordinators were meeting with clients and it might be tight on time, so they will join later on. Okay?
Okay. And I'm on drop-ins this morning, so I might have to sort of leave and come back, but we'll just play it by ear. I didn't get a link to, like, I registered, but I never got a link back for the Webex. But I'm sure.
If you have the Word document, the mandatory guidance document,
yeah,
you should be okay, because we're going to just, basically we're going line by line, so table by table really, and I'm just going to give a brief example, and then if you have, that's what I was kind of getting at, is that if you have questions, then feel free to ask them where it's appropriate, but we're going to try to keep on to each table. If it's a question for later on in the document, once we get there, then you can ask that question, just so that we're not skipping around in the document, because it is 30-page and it can get confusing.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. And basically at the beginning, what I was saying is that we all know that this document is big and it's taking a lot of time to do, and it takes away from the time that we have with our clients. But at the same time, it's very important for us to fill in these stats, because this is what justifies your positions, and it also justifies the raison d'être of this pilot.
Yeah.
Okay?
Great.
So we're just going to jump right into all of this. And I'm not going to reread the guidance, because you guys can read the guidance, and I'm sure you already have, and we've already looked at it on the previous Webex. basically we're just going to go right into the table piece. Except I don't know how to switch page. Oh, here it is. Okay, sorry. I'm not. Jonathan is my tech, like the tech guru at MFS. So, okay, the first table are totals. The totals is the amount of contacts clients or service provided that is, it's a compilation of the entire section 1 of the guidance document. So yes, it repeats numbers because, for example, if you have one client, so I'm going to call him Mr. John. If Mr. John has children and in the first month he uses services for his child and he also uses employment services, then he's using 2 services. So that's showing that he's there twice when we're doing the total. So maybe the language can be confusing, but we know that means that yes, the number is repeating, but that being said, it's divided. It's the addition. So it's broken down. In the other subsections, such as workshop services for children, teens, parents, emergency childcare, information referral, employment and education services. So basically, you're taking all of those numbers and you're plugging it into your first table. Are we okay with this section, or do we have questions? Okay. When I hear silence, that means we're okay. So this is the guidance. We're going to go to the next page here. We're going to go to welcome our community orientation services. So yes, this section is important because we do know that once the member is medically released, that they have about 2 years to relocate. They have that last posting entitlement. So let's say the person is from Edmonton and they are moving to Halifax, then that person might need and has never been to Halifax in their entire life, but they decided, I am going to retire in the Maritimes because that's where I want to be. Then they might need that community orientation or a welcome package to say, welcome to our area, and this is what we have, those services, what we have available to you. So again, it's important for the MFRCs to talk. So let's say we know that the Edmonton knows that this person is going to be moving to Halifax, then offering that service to the person, to the member or the medically released veteran, to say, you know what, Halifax is one of our pilot locations, and I can connect you with the veteran family coordinator there, and then they could give you a community orientation like that. You would know where the services are in your area. So this is where you would plug in those numbers.
I have a question.
Yes.
So we're not tracking those numbers for, so like the example that you gave, so say they're moving to Halifax. So here in Shiloh, I wouldn't record that as a community orientation, would I? Because it's happening in Halifax?
Exactly. So that would be, so in this circumstance, Edmonton is the person is leaving from Edmonton to Halifax. Edmonton, that would be a referral for Edmonton, and it would be a community orientation for Halifax.
Okay.
Okay. So in your area, so if Shiloh is, the member is in Shiloh, and or the veteran is in Shiloh, and is moving to Valcartier, then Shiloh, you're doing a referral. Valcartier, you're doing a community orientation. Does that make sense?
Yep, that's good.
Okay, perfect.
I have a question, Michelle.
Yes.
You have 3 sections there, transitioning member, VFP, and outside VFP. Wasn't the document updated to take out the transitioning member? And it's only down to VFP and outside VFP?
We're going to keep transitioning member, and the reason for that is there's always an exception somewhere where transitioning member might have to have a posting, and they might need that community orientation. So there's things that, there's more, but there's more for that odd situation that doesn't fit within the norm. And we know in the military culture or lifestyle, there's a lot of situations that are outside of the norm, so that's why we kept it there.
Okay, I might be not looking at the most updated document then, because none of my charts have transitioning member. The one I was looking at before did, and I think that that was the earlier document.
Oh no, then you might not have the right document.
Tina, this is Jonathan here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop back to my desk and send you the document that we're looking at, okay?
I think I have it in my email. I'm just checking to make sure that it's...
So where would the transitioning members be located on the, like if I'm looking at it, kind of like along the lines of what Tina's looking for, where is that?
You're probably looking at the same document I am, Pam. There's two different documents.
So the document, the last document that I sent is the updated one.
From November the 8th?
We are,
I have one.
From yesterday?
Yeah.
That I sent you?
Yeah.
That's the latest version, yes.
Yeah.
And so it says, it should say, like the page that I'm looking at, it says welcome community orientation. Then it says veteran, spouse, children, youth, parent, and other. And then it says transitioning member, that's in blue, veteran family program in white, and outside VFP is like in a grayish color.
So Pam, you're probably the document you're looking at. Does it say updated Friday, October 21st?
No, the one that I'm looking at is updated Tuesday, November 8th.
Oh.
Yeah. So you have the older version, Tina?
Yeah, I just loaded the newer version. Actually, the one I'm looking at on my computer now says updated November 9th.
Yeah, and I'm not seeing the transitioning member on it either. So maybe.
Okay. So we're going to have to send you guys. So Jonathan is going to send you the updated version, which is weird because when I was talking with you guys on the phone this week, we had transitioning member, like that was there when I had conversations with some of you. So I'm wondering what.
It was on the original one that you sent out. Remember the one that you sent out when you did the first webinar and you had the attachments on that one?
Yes.
It was on that one, but then there was another one that was sent out on October 21st, and it was not on that one. And then the one that I'm looking at now, it is on it.
Okay, because I've never taken it out. So
I'm not sure.
Weird how that worked. But okay, so then let's look at the original, the one that we had the Webex on. You can look at that one, or Jonathan is sending it to you as we speak. Okay. I just noticed. Hi, Kelly. You just have to unmute your microphone. Okay. So well, Kelly is with us now, but I think she can't. Oh, there it is. Hi, Kelly. I'm not sure if you can hear me. You can use the chat at the bottom of the screen, just to let me know if you can hear. If not, you can use the teleconference. The teleconference number is in the chat of this document. I can hear you, but we don't have a mic. Oh, okay. Perfect. So if you want to just add the questions at the bottom in the chat, so if you do have questions, you can just do that, or you can also join us at the teleconference at this number, and I'm going to write down here the conference ID number so that you can also use your voice. So the ID number is 887282. So you can join via the telephone so that we can hear your voice. And I think, Jonathan, were you able to send us the document? So, okay, perfect. So Jonathan just sent you the updated version of the mandatory guidance document. Are you guys comfortable if I continue, or would it be better for us to wait that you open the document? So I will continue. Is that okay?
Good with me.
Okay. We've got a voice. Okay, cool. So was that, sorry, getting a computer glitch here. So is it clear for community orientation service? Was there any other questions with regards to that table?
Oh, I had a question.
Okay, yep.
So, because the presentations are included in that one, right? Is that the one that says, yeah, briefings, presentations? So for example, I just did a presentation for the SCAN seminar, but I don't know how many out of those who attended the SCAN were part of the Veteran Family Program or outside of the Veteran Family Program.
Okay.
Like I know the few that I've met with, but I know that there were more there.
So it was a SCAN, right?
Yeah.
So it's for medically releasing population, because there's two types of scans.
It was just a regular SCAN, but I know from talking with the VPSO that there were many medically releasing members there, so I'm just not sure how you want me to track that. Like, I guess I would just put it all in other?
No, it would be in transitioning member, because what we do know is that they're all transitioning out.
Okay.
Okay. So that's, because the transitioning member is technically someone that's outside the VFP anyways. And the goal of a SCAN seminar is for a member who wants to transition, right, who wants to leave the forces. And that the SCAN is to offer or to inform that population who are considering to leave the military, the resources and information that's available to them.
Okay.
So it's for the transitioning member. Okay.
Sorry, Rochelle, I probably should have asked this.
Services. Okay, so sorry, Kelly just asked for, can you give me the phone number for the conference call? And I can't see it, thank you. Okay, so Kelly, the number is 1-877-413-4790. And the conference ID number is 887-2823. Okay. Perfect.
Rachel, we have a question, Kirsty. Can we ask them?
Yes, for sure.
Just from the previous question, you said that the SCAN session will go under Welcome and Community Orientation Services, and
no, it doesn't. It does not. It does not fall under community orientation or welcome community. It does not. Ça fait pas partie de ça.
Ok, c'est pas ça que tu viens de confirmer. Je pensais que c'est ça que tu venais de dire à l'autre personne qui a posé la question.
Non, j'ai confirmé que ça va pas, parce qu'elle a posé la question, puis je lui ai dit que ça fait pas partie du welcome community orientation. Ce qu'elle voulait savoir, c'est que est-ce que ça tombait en dessous d'un membre qui transitionne, un membre qui fait partie du projet pilote ou qui est à l'extérieur du projet pilote. Donc, à ce moment-là, j'ai dit l'objectif d'un scan, c'est vraiment pour le membre qui transitionne, qui veut sortir des Forces armées canadiennes. Donc, on va le mettre en dessous de transitioning member.
Mais sur quelle section, c'est ça qu'on a mal compris?
Ça va être en dessous de briefing.
Fait que dans employment workshop, dans l'introduction, ça dit include flyer sessions, scan, employment workshops, self-storage.
Dans employment, ça coupe. OK. Non, puis on va faire la modification dans le document. Ça va vraiment dans le briefing, briefings, partnership, puis outreach. OK, donc...
Which page is that on?
So the briefings and partnerships is at the bottom with information referral. Not information referral in section 1, but referrals at the end of the document.
And that's where the scan would go, you're saying?
Yes. Scans are going to go under briefings, partnerships, and, sorry, we're just trying to find it here. On Webex, it's like page by page. It's not like a Word document.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit further.
A little bit further.
Like, yeah. So it's page 23.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry, Rachel. Is this because when we spoke yesterday, I understood that the briefing partnership section was actually concerning contacts we have with stakeholders or any other partners with whom we have to put in place some services for clients. So yeah. I didn't figure that presentation would fall into the section.
But if you look at in briefing, partnerships, and outreach, it says stakeholders and the reason, and then it says number of briefings provided, name and reason, and number of participants.
Okay.
It's in that table.
Okay.
So we're just going to take it, like, we're going to amend this and just take it away from the employment piece.
Okay, perfect.
For scans. Because it's part of a transition. Like, everybody who transitions out is recommended to go to a scan seminar. So it's part of a transition. It's not just an employment piece. There's a lot more to it. So we're just going to take it out of employment, and it's going to be in briefings, partnerships, and outreach. Okay, so I'm just going to go back to the beginning of the document. So for community orientation and services, it's really for someone who is new to the area and that they need information and resources about the area, about the location where they moved, and how they can properly integrate in this new community. Okay, do we have more questions for community orientation services?
I have a question.
Okay, so the next section.
Oh, can you hear me?
Okay, so in my Webex, it disappeared, but it's service, workshop, and teams. The header disappeared, but that's what it is. So services, workshops for children. Technically, you can see it here, actually. There.
Hello?
In this section, really, I shouldn't see any numbers in veteran, spouse, youth or parent. It's really the number of children that use the service or workshop. Okay, so again, it's for children, not for parents. So I shouldn't have a 1 for the parent who's using a children workshop. There is a section for the parent who needs services and workshops. Does that make sense? I'm just going to take silence as you guys have no questions, but by any time, like, just cut me off and say, I have a question, okay?
I have a question.
So
I have a question.
Next section is service workshop for teens. Again, same thing. There shouldn't be any numbers in veteran, spouse, children, parent, or other. It's really youth. That's where, or youth, teenager. In the guidance, it explains what is the age category for a youth. So I'm going to let you guys read that piece. And so it's the same concept for the children that I just explained, but for the youth component. Any questions? Okay. So the next table is service workshop parenting. So it's for parents. It's not meant for children, youth, veteran spouses, or other. It's for parents. So I should only see numbers for parents.
Vanessa, just hang on a second.
Yes?
Can you give me an example of what you term a service workshop for parenting?
Yep, triple P.
So why would a veteran not participate in that?
So the veteran, okay, so yes, you're right. The veteran can participate,
Okay.
assuming that the veteran is a parent.
Yeah. Because, I mean, hopefully both of them are going to come, right? Okay, no, I was thinking, okay, are we going like the parents of the veteran? That's what I was thinking. Okay.
Oh, no. For this section,
so
it's for...
Triple P workshop, it would be both of them. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, or you could do it that way, or you could do it for, you know what, Kelly, I think you bring a really good point, and I think that your version is clear, where if you write the veteran, the spouse, and maybe a grandparent, so the parent of a veteran is actually now becoming the caregiver.
Care provider for the kids, maybe because the veteran isn't healthy enough too. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, exactly. So I think you're right, and I think I made a mistake there where the parent should stay a parent, so it's the parent of the veteran or the parent of the spouse, and we'll just leave it as veteran and spouse. So those are, so technically in this table you could have numbers in veteran, spouse, parent.
Okay.
And then other being maybe like a sister or a neighbor, whoever is now being the caregiver of that person, of the child, sorry. Hi, Tom. We just have some new guests to participate in our workshop. So we have Tom, I'm sorry, I don't remember. Hector.
Christine is just making a phone call. Call back, she'll join us.
Perfect. So we have representatives from Veterans Affairs that are joining us now. So we're just going through our guidance document for our stats. We're going line by line just to make it clear for our coordinators. Do you have questions?
Can you hear me,
okay.
Rochelle?
So I'm just going to repeat again the parenting part. I'm just going to recap. So basically, like example triple P, it could be a veteran, a spouse, or the parent of the spouse veteran who are using these services to provide for the children and youth. And other is, again, the exception, right? So if it's a sister, a brother of the veteran, or the spouse, or a neighbor who's being the caregiver of the children, then they can use this, they would fall under this category. Okay, do we have more questions? Okay, thanks Kelly for bringing that up. Okay, so this is again, emergency childcare. So the scenario, this is a scenario, I'll just give the scenario as an example. So the couple is struggling because the veteran is on one, so let's say the veteran is very ill and is terminally ill and is in a hospital, and they need emergency child care so that the other parent can go and see the veteran who at the hospital. So that would be considered emergency child care. So at this time you would plug in the numbers into this category because it fits under emergency child care. So that's a scenario as to what is an example of emergency child care. And then respite care is also falls under emergency child care. Okay, so that's the other point that I wanted to clarify. Respite care falls under emergency child care. Looks like Denise and Tina are trying to ask questions. Oh, sorry. Denise? Hi, Denise.
Hi, Rochelle. Can you hear me? Okay, no questions so far.
don't think my mic is working. I have a question. Oh, okay. Can you hear
me?
Now
Yep.
I can, yes.
Okay, I called in using the teleconference line. I think my headset was pooched.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay, sorry. Thanks, Kelly, for bringing that up. Again, I was so focused on talking that I didn't see the chat. So, sorry, Tina, you had a question?
Yeah, sorry, it's way back at the beginning when it's breaking it down from transitioning member, VFP, and outside VFP.
Yes.
The guideline or the guidance for transitioning member just says a member that's in the middle of the release process. Would this include members who are not a 3B release, but who are asking for transition support?
Who are medically releasing?
No, who are not a 3B release.
Okay. Technically, it should be a medically released.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what we're looking at.
Yep.
Pardon me? Yes. It's outside VFP. Yes, that's it.
I'm having a really hard time hearing some of the conversation. So did we say that's going to be put in the outside the VFP if they're not med releasing?
Yes, that's correct. So if they're not medically releasing, then it's outside the Veteran Family Program. So the transitioning member is really somebody who's medically transitioning out of the Canadian Armed Forces. A veteran
they're
family,
in the 6-month pre-release part?
Yes.
My understanding was the 6 months no longer applied, that it's from the moment they have the release message, which could be, like I have one guy right now, 1.5 years before he releases, but we're working, so
But
is that correct?
Yeah, and he's a medical release, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So those are, again, the exceptions to the rules, right? That doesn't happen very often where you have your medical release 1.5 years prior to, like that form.
I'm seeing that a lot here. Yeah,
I am too.
Wow, okay, well then good. Then that just means that as long as they're medically releasing, they fall under transitioning member. If they're not medically releasing and they are struggling with that transition, then they fall outside the Veteran Family Program.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Rochelle, just one more quick question about that then.
Yes.
If a client doesn't have their medical release in hand yet, but they know it's coming, I'm providing them services like they're, because they are going to medically release, they just don't have it yet. Is that okay? Where should I be putting that?
They technically fall, if we're looking on paper, they fall outside of the Veteran Family Program because they don't have their papers yet saying they're medically releasing, right? On paper. That being said, they're a transitioning member and they know it's because of medical reasons. So they must have,
like they're PCAT'd, it's at DMed fall. It's just, my thing is, the sooner we start, the more successful we're going to be, right?
Yes, I agree. So then they would fall, so if they already have like a TCAT and everything, then they fall under transitioning member.
Okay, thank you.
Just a quick question for those people on the WebEx. Can you hear us okay via the mic? Via the WebEx? So Marie-Ève, Denise, Kelly?
Nous autres, à la quartier, on a mis le son juste sur la téléconférence, sur le Webex, ça rentre mal.
OK.
OK.
Oui, la même ici au Trenton, on est sur le téléphone.
OK.
Parfait. Puis Denise a dit, I don't have a headset. No questions so far.
Yeah, but
okay.
she can hear us, so.
She can hear us.
Great.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to continue if you guys are okay with that. Okay, the silence means yes. So we were clear for emergency childcare. That was okay? Yes? Information and referral. I'm going to scroll down here. So when you provide the information to a target population, you indicate this number in the table. So when you provide information to either a transitioning member, so a medically releasing member, a medically released member, or a member outside of the Veteran Family Program, all information, so John Smith calls and says, I heard you're offering veteran family, that you have you're the veteran family coordinator, and that you have a veteran family program journal, and I would like a copy of that, and I'd like to have more information. That's a check in the box. That is a client that you served and you helped in their transition, so that's information. The referral piece is if you referred outside. So if you did a referral to either an outside community or within the MFRC. So it touches everything. Okay. Oh, we have Trish that just joined us.
You can hear, but we can't see. Just a second. I actually have Chris, but I'm going to give you Trish. Just a minute, please.
Hi, Trish.
Okay, just a sec, please.
Trish? Oh, she's muted now. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, yes. Yes.
Trish, are you able to hear me?
I don't think we have a camera. That's okay. You can hear, but we can't. So just
I'm not able to hear you if you're trying to speak.
But she can't hear us for some reason.
So you might want to call into the teleconference.
So just type
We're having some technical difficulties, I think, with the voices, with Webex or something like that.
Or you can use the chat, Trish, whichever works better for you.
Okay, so I'm just going to continue here. So information referral again. So if you're referring to an outside resource or an internal resource within the MFRC, that's where you would identify this. And again, information, if you provided information at a SCAN seminar, that does not fall under the information referral piece. It'll fall under briefings, partnerships, and outreach. Okay? Use the chat. Okay, perfect. Do we have any questions with regards to information referral?
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to have to give you an example to help you understand what I'm asking.
Definitely. Go for it.
John, the client comes into my office. He meets with me, and I do an intake with him. In the intake, I ask a whole bunch of questions, and then I provide him, let's say, with a journal, and I provide him with a referral, I don't know, to credit counseling service outside of the military. Where am I putting all those stats? Because that's a client that I'm providing some transition services to. So do I put him up top at the very beginning? And then do I also then put him here?
So he's a new client, and he's your client, right?
Yes.
So you opened a file on him.
Yes.
Okay, so then he falls under the Veteran Family Coordinator file management piece, because you opened a new client.
Yes.
Then you provided him with a journal.
A journal and a referral to credit counseling in the community.
Okay, so the journal is a marketing piece.
Okay.
So that's where you would identify that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you did a referral. So the referral piece is and you referred the person to an outside, a credit bureau or credit agency.
Credit counseling agency.
Oh, accounting agency, sorry. So then in referral, at the bottom of the guidance document, you have referrals outside of MFRCs, and it says like referral 1, referral 2, referral 3. Okay, so that would be like, let's say that's your first client of the month, so that would be your number 1 referral, and then you would have to say the reason. So the reason is financial, or you see where I'm saying? Like what I'm saying? It's an actual referral.
Okay.
Outside, right? So, but you also provided this person information about the referral. So you would also indicate it in this section, information and referral. He was a Veteran Family Program client, right? Like he's a medically released person?
No, we'll say he's still in.
Oh, he's still in. So he's a transitioning member, or he's outside the VFP?
He's transitioning. He's got a 3B med release coming.
Okay, perfect. So then in transitioning member, you would identify him as a new client and a veteran.
Okay.
And how many contacts did you have with this person? Did he just walk in once, or did you have to call him 5 times?
Let's say I had to meet with him once and call him once, and I had to email him once.
So those are 3 contacts.
Okay.
So under number of client contacts, you would write 3.
Okay. Okay.
Are we good? It'll come, this is really new. Well, it's new and it's not, because technically those are things that we should have done in the first year. It was just not broken down in a way that we were capturing it. But by doing it this way, we're showing that it takes a lot of work to help one person. And it shows the burden of effort. And I think that needs to be clearly identified for the veteran family coordinators to justify your positions, to show that you are in need in all of this, okay? So,
yeah, no, I think, no, that makes perfect sense. I mean, you and I have talked about that many times, how I felt we weren't representing the actual work that was going into this. It's just going to be trying to track that daily when you're busy. That's but we'll figure it out.
And, you know, like Jonathan and I have been working on this for a little while now, but I mean, I just did this entire explanation without the paper in front of me. So it's like you'll get used to it and you'll know it by heart. At one point it'll just come naturally and you'll know exactly where to plug in the numbers. Right now it's because it's new and it's hard to put ourselves in that mind frame as to where these numbers go. But once you really understand how this works, it'll come naturally.
Yes.
Okay.
I think, and we've talked about this, giving us a couple of months before they're really accurate. I think it's going to take the time.
Yeah, and I mean, we're here to help. That's our job. Like, that's what we're, don't look at me, sorry. It'll be Jonathan's job. What's happening is that I'm going to be changing employment. So this isn't a recording. This is not cool. Next Friday is my last day. I had to change employments for my family. So, but Jonathan is going to be, and Erin is going to be an excellent resource for all of you to answer these questions. But I'm still going to be available via email, and I'm still going to be able to, you guys can ask us questions. I'm not going to let this go, I guess. So, okay, that being said, does that make sense?
Yeah, Denise has a question in the chat section there.
Yeah. Thanks, Kelly. For this section, are these inquiries to the VFCs only or to other MFRC staff members? So I'm just trying to understand the question here. So are these inquiries to the veteran family coordinator? So if the client is belonging to the veteran family coordinator, or
if it comes through the MFRC and then gets the veteran family coordinator is informed of it, but they never actually meet the coordinator.
Oh, if you never, so, okay, again, if they've never met the veteran family coordinator, then it doesn't fall under file management. But it is an if let's say the administrative assistant at the front lobby is answering the questions and is giving a veteran family program journal, then that would fall under, then she would have to check that or let you know that she provided a journal to the person. So that's, again, an awareness piece. It's a promotional item, and it's also a tool, it's a resource. And if if the admin assistant said, you know, the veteran family program offers XYZ, and we have a workshop on finances coming up. You really need to register. I think it would be a really good idea. That's information. So that would fall under information, referral, and services. Does that answer your question, Denise?
Rochelle, would Jonathan be available to do a Webex like this for the rest of the MFRC staff?
For the non-pilot sites?
So for my staff here to be able to help them understand what they now have to collect.
I've also been asked to arrange some training for our staff. I created some documents to try and help our staff collect this information, but they've also asked for some training.
Yep, and I mean, this Webex is recorded, and the one previously is as well, so they can review the Webex session. But Jonathan, do you want to? I don't want to speak for you.
Okay, so like Rochelle said, what we'd like the staff to do is actually review the documents that have been sent out, as well as the Webex sessions, just so that they're brought up to the same speed as you guys. And then what we can do is I can set up as many Webex sessions as you guys need for your staff. In addition to that, I just don't want to. I want to make sure that they're brought up to the same speed as you guys, and also so that we're not. I want to make sure that what we've told you in the past is now recorded. That's on record now as the way of doing things, so I want to make sure that we're consistent. So I don't want to vary from that in terms of my language and that, which might mess some people up. So that's why it's really important for them to look at the sessions beforehand, read through the guidance document, and then we can have some WebEx sessions or teleconferences, whatever works best for you guys, and we can record those as well. And just the process that Rachel is going through today as well will make sure that those additional notes of guidance are available. Right now the guidance document is 30 pages, so I'm reluctant to make it any longer because it'll just be a monster in that regard, but we will make sure that you have the additional guidance available that we're talking about today in addition to the recording. Does that sound okay?
Sure.
Okay. Was there a question?
I have another question.
Okay.
That's not related.
Okay.
Under number of workshops provided,
Yes.
if we have a workshop that has a mix of an audience, how am I recording that? Like, how do I break that down from transitioning member, VFP, outside VFP, veteran spouse, other, like, how would I even start to do that?
So is there a registration form for this?
There's registration forms, but I'm certainly not asking them if they're, those kind of details on a registration form that everybody's reviewing.
Yes. Okay, so then let's go back to what is the goal of the workshop or seminar? Who is it for? Who's your target audience?
It would be everybody.
So it is open to everyone?
Yeah.
And you know for sure that they are medically releasing veterans?
They could be medically releasing. They could be outside of the Veteran Family Program. They could be staff that are working with medically releasing members.
Okay. So that would then, and it is a briefing.
It could be both. So I'm just thinking of the workshop that I just hosted with Suzanne Knoll. It drew a broad audience. Like, there was lots of people who attended.
Okay.
But also a recent briefing that I would have given to civilian organizations. I'm not really sure how to capture that.
Okay. So
the purpose of the workshop was to talk about the transition process, make people aware of some of the elements they might not be aware of, like grief and that kind of thing. And so, yeah, we encouraged as many people to come, and including staff who work at key units like the IPSC and the MIR. And then with civilian organizations, the goal is letting them know about the program and the services that we offer that could help them with their work with transitioning members.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is that the workshop was about transitioning, grief, loss, with the personal growth and development piece. And then that would fall under workshop. Now they would fall under transitioning member because it's to help the transition, right? That's the goal? Even though, because in the MOU, VAC also knows, sorry you guys are here, but this is what I would say. So VAC also knows that we're not able to identify every single person that walks through the door. So that leaves that margin of error in our stats. But so that's why I always say, what is the goal? What is the purpose to this? The purpose is to support transitioning members. Even though we're supporting the transitioned member, we're looking at transitioning members. And when we do our reports, we're giving the transitioning piece as well. And when we're going to do I'm assuming we're going to be doing a written report of some kind, or VAC is going to, like when we're sharing this data, someone's going to do a written report, and that information is going to be shared where there are transitioned individuals in the room, even though it's for the transitioning member. Do you see what I'm saying? And also, when you're writing it, in workshops it says name and reason. So then that's where you have the opportunity to say, it's personal growth and development. It's for the transitioning member, because that's the goal of the workshop. And then you would be saying the name. So it was a workshop with Susanno on transition, or the grief and loss of transition and transitioning. And in this workshop, there were more than one cohort, right? More than one person. There were transitioning members, medically released veterans, and individuals outside of the veteran family population, and we were not able to identify who was who, right? So you have that opportunity to explain that in the name and reason. Does that make sense?
I guess so. The other thing is, if I have veterans and spouses in the same workshops, am I, under number of workshops provided, am I putting one in each of those?
Again, it goes back to the goal. Is it meant for the veteran, or is it meant for the spouse?
Both.
It's meant for both. So then you would write it under veteran, because this is for it's veteran and family. So you could do both. Put it under one or the other. Just put it in once, and then explain it in the name and reason that spouses and veterans attended, and then name the number of participants. Just put it under veteran or spouse. Don't put it twice. So let's say there was 50 veterans. Technically, there might have been 25 spouses in those 50 veterans, but in the name and reason, you explained that the workshop was for, I don't know, couples therapy, okay? Let's say it's a briefing on couples therapy. And so you put it under veteran, that's the name and reason, and there were 50 participants. In there were mixed spouses and veterans. Because the other thing too is there's dual serving couples who are both of them might be transitioning out of the Canadian Armed Forces medically. So we're not able to capture all of those small details, but at least we know you serviced for 50 people with the objective of a successful transition.
Okay, so I'm capturing all of the participants under one demographic just for the sake of who I'm targeting?
Yes.
So if I'm targeting veterans for a certain workshop, even if spouses attended, I'm still capturing the numbers under veterans?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Okay.
Hang on just a second, folks. We're just going to take a pause there for just a sec. Okay, we're back.
Hello? You made me sound like a manly voice there. This might be.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. I'm back, and so is Rochelle.
Sorry, some technical difficulties there. Are we all here?
Yes, we're here.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes? That's 2 yeses.
Yeah, I'm still here.
3,
Right.
4, 5. Am I missing 1? Should be 6. 6 including me. Okay, that's good. So, going back to information referral, do we have more questions? Clear as mud, that's good. Let's scroll down here. We're going to look at employment and education services. So those are combined, because they're also combined in the MOU. They're as one. So any service related to employment or education, with the exception of second language training. With the exception of second language training, because it's captured in a different box. And the same thing with the SCAN seminar. It's also captured in briefing. So even though it's about employment, we're putting it in briefings, and that's about it. So your employment coordinators are the ones, I think, who are typically giving you the data for this table.
Rochelle?
Yes?
In Trenton, we actually do 2 briefings for the scan. So my employment gal goes over and does all the services that she's offering for not just medically releasing, but all members, the portfolio, the HERCs, that kind of stuff. And then I think the second day I go and present the VFP. So should we be counting that as 2 separate stats or 1 stat?
1 stat.
Okay.
The one that you participate in. The other one is like a typical scan, because Trenton does it as it's 2 different ones.
Yeah, but there's medically releasing people through the 2.5 days, right? It's just that my day that I go on, the half day, is only medically releasing people, but they also go to the 2 full days too if they want to. So we are going to have some of my audience getting that information as well.
Okay. Is it the same people attending both days?
It's a mixture.
So they're not attending the second day?
So it's 2.5 days. The first 2 days are scanned for everybody, but medically releasing can go to that as well.
Okay.
My half day that I go to is only for medically releasing members.
Then I would capture the one only for medically releasing members, because that's targeting your audience.
Okay.
So you have that opportunity there. I know I spoke with another center today where they don't necessarily do that, where medically releasing members attend the regular scans. So at that time, then you capture all those numbers. But if you're able to narrow it down, then that's good.
Yeah, my only concern is our employment and education people are spending about an hour and a half, and there are medically releasing people in the room. So it's like, should we not be capturing that as hours being spent working with that clientele?
And they offer services specifically for medically releasing members in Trenton particularly, right? So I would think that would be captured under employment and education as a service
opportunity. When I do my VFP brief, I only touch briefly on the employment and education piece because they received that the day prior from that briefing.
So they do have that specific. So then your employment coordinator could put it under workshops provided. Under employment, because that's her goal, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
And I would put mine underneath the other one.
Yes, just because your situation seems to be unique, or it's set up that way, so you're able to do it this way.
Yeah.
As for other centers, that might not be the case, where then they would put it under briefings, partnerships, and outreach.
Okay. I have one more weird question for you.
Go for it.
When we start doing the family information sessions here in January, I'm going to have the employment and education person also present at that, because there are services that can be available to the family as well as the member.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be presenting, she'll be presenting. Do we both track that, or is it just one family information session, doesn't matter how many people present?
It's the same people?
Yes.
Okay, so just once.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, so do we have any more questions? No? All right, we're going to go to the next slide. Personal growth and development. So Maria and I had a good time with this one this week.
Sorry. I have my employment and education person with me, and we have a question. We still have one more question about employment and education.
Okay, yes?
Okay, go ahead.
So we provide a portfolio class, and the portfolio class runs from 8 to 10 weeks, once a week. So I wonder, for the number of workshops provided, should I count it as one, or should I count it as how many workshops, like how many times we had it the same month, like 3 or 4 times?
I missed the first part. What is it exactly?
So it's a portfolio development for members.
So is it the same member coming like the entire, or participating the entire 8 to 10 weeks?
Yes.
Okay, so it's one workshop.
Okay.
It's one service provided. If you were offering, 1 week it's a workshop on your portfolio, the other week is a workshop on job hunting, the other one is on finances, those are 3 different categories.
But that is what it is, Rochelle. It's the portfolio program has a different topic every week.
Yes, but you just said...
So it's a different, it's like shifting gears would be multiple sessions, or like Mind Masters would be multiple sessions with different topics each session.
But it's a program.
And it's the same client. Right,
and it's the same client.
Yep.
So because it's the same clients and it's a program, like you said, like living life to the full, focus, you have 8 sessions. Those things, it's the same clients, so it's only considered as one.
With 8 contacts.
With 8 contacts. So yeah, you had 8 contacts with that one client.
Okay. So then, let's say for our portfolio that the gals are doing right now, it started in October. It'll also be running in November. So do we count it again in November as one workshop provided with?
Yeah, so it was ran once, and now you're going to run it again in November?
No, that's not what I'm saying. It's a 10-week program. It started on October the 13th, so it ran for October. It will continue running in November.
So you only wrote it once. You write it once in the October one. You don't write it in the November one.
Okay, but then how are we really tracking the work that's being done?
Then that's in the number of contacts. So your contacts, so even though you don't write a 1 under the workshop, you write, I don't know how many times you have that work, like that happening, but then you would write 5 times the number of contacts. Even though there's not a little 1 beside the workshop, or the client, then you write the number of contacts. You should have you should have numbers there.
So we could write the name of, okay, so we won't put the click for the workshop provided, but we'll put the name of the workshop so that you understand.
Yes.
And then, in this case, we have 25 participants.
Yes.
4 times would be 100 contacts.
Yes.
Perfect. Okay.
And then I have another question for you. So the number of participants, should I count it to in the total of number of clients I've seen in a month? Like if I become every week, do I count it somewhere else too?
I'm sorry, I don't think I understood the question.
I think what we're asking, Rochelle, is if the clients are coming to portfolio, are they also counted in the total number of clients that are receiving services from that program?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
It's part of the first table.
Part of the first table, but not part of this table?
Yes. The first table is the compilation of all the section 1. So, because you weren't here at the beginning. Okay, so the first, that's okay. So the table 1, so the first table that you saw that says the total amount of contacts, of clients, it also has the burden, like the number of client contacts. So then you would add all of your numbers from section 1 is the addition, so you're adding all of that up, and that's your number for the first table. So you're adding personal growth and development, second language training, focus, mental health first aid, welcome community orientation, service workshops for children, for teens, for parenting, emergency child care, information referral. So you're adding all of those numbers up, and that will give you your grand total. So your grand total is your first table.
Yeah, that's not actually what I was asking, Rochelle, because we had talked about that this morning, right? So I get that part.
Okay.
What I'm asking is, in the employment and education assistance section,
okay,
what she's wanting to know is they put their total number of clients that they see, okay? They want to know if the portfolio clients go in there as well.
Yes, they're under workshop.
Because then I understand that I take that number and I include it up in the section 1. I get that part, but what she was asking was if they come to the workshop, are they considered total number of clients? Which is the first line?
So no, they're a participant.
Okay, in the workshop.
Yes. If they're not, if they are a client, let's say you go in and say, I need help writing my resume, and I'm your client, and then you help me, and then you say, you know what, we have a really good workshop happening. It's the portfolio workshop. Would you like to attend? Then I say, yeah, I really want to attend this. So then workshop, and then me, I'm a participant. So
I get that now.
So now a participant is different. So if, let's say, Jonathan now walks in and says, I want to sign up for your workshop on the portfolio workshop, then he would be a participant. He's not a client.
Perfect. That makes perfect sense now. Because that was my confusion, was understanding what are we going to identify as a client, because you're right, some of the portfolio participants are ongoing clients for both of us. So I see them for transition planning, they see them for employment and education. So I would count them as a client, they would count them as a client. But if they're only coming in for the workshop, we just count them as a workshop participant.
Got it, you got it.
That's it? Perfect, yes. Thank you.
No problem. Do we have any more questions? Okay, I got a yes. Okay, sorry, I'm just looking at the chat box because I don't want to miss anybody. Okay, so we're done that piece. Okay, personal growth and development service workshop. Yes. So this piece, it's really important to read the guidance. This is also where you're going to write the social work. The social work piece, your flows who are doing that one-to-one counseling or group counseling, that's where you plug this number in. Okay. But this doesn't include focus. It doesn't include mental health first aid. I just got news today, R2MR will they're looking at doing Road to Mental Readiness for Veterans, but it's not going to be for the next year. They're not ready yet to develop it from what I've heard, so we're going to take it out of the document. So you have one less page to look at. So that one we're going to be taking out. I just found out this morning. But focus and mental health first aid, they're in a different category because the Veteran Family Program has invested in it. So we want to capture those numbers. So if we've invested, I'm just making up numbers here, if we've invested $10,000 in focus for your training, then we want to know if you're training people in focus and how many people have you trained, okay, or serviced. So that's when it's a different category. So yeah, that's my spill for personal growth and development. Do you guys have any questions? Silence means there's no questions. Okay. Second language training. So individuals who are looking to get either French or English second language training, you plug them in here. It's open to all the categories. That one is kind of simple. Do we have any questions? Okay. Focus, again, the same thing. So focus is about an 8-week session. So they're going to be it could be a workshop, all depending how you're going to be delivering it. It could be a workshop or it could be individual client, right? But then if you're doing individual client, then you should be seeing not just the veteran, but the spouse and maybe a child. That make sense? Did I hear you correct that the flow puts her info? Okay, so Trish has a question. She says, did I hear you correct that the flow puts her info into the personal growth and development? Yes, you did hear correctly. Yes. So, so before we had in other, so in the first report, the first year, a lot of social work piece was falling under other. So now and personal growth and development had absolutely nothing. So we've combined and said personal growth and development is part of working on yourself. So working on yourself means social work, therapeutic interventions, counseling. It falls under that scope. So yes, it will fall under that.
Rochelle, if I'm doing, like I'm developing a workshop right now on self-advocacy, would that workshop fall under here as well? Because that's kind of personal growth and development, right?
It is, yes.
Okay.
Yep. Do we have any more questions? Okay. Mental health first aid, again, same concept as focus. It's something that we want to look at. Do you have any questions for mental health first aid? No? Okay. R2MR, we're going to be deleting that one out. We're going to be taking this one out because there's changes to that. Like I said before, it won't be in this first year, so we're just going to shorten this document for you guys a little bit. Other. So in other, if it doesn't fall in any of those categories, it says reason at the bottom. Reason is good for tell me what it is. What is the other service that we haven't captured that you're putting under other? Okay, so just write it in the reason and that'll be fine. Any questions? So we're now going into the family transition plan. I know that you guys, well now you might be aware because I probably told all of you, but the working group, it was an initiative to do a family transition plan. We're going to be talking about it at the working group meeting at the end of the month. That being said, that doesn't mean you're not doing a family transition plan because the Veteran Family Program Journal has a bit of that in there. And it looks like the aim of the transition plan is basically like when a member is being deployed, normally before they deploy, they have to do a family, like a preparedness plan. So basically, if the member is deployed and there's a spouse and a child left behind, then we want to know that they're going to be safe and that they're okay, and that if there is an emergency, that a plan is set up for them so that they don't fall through the cracks and that they do get the services that they deserve and that they need.
So that they understand.
Family care plan. Thank you. I was looking for the word. I should know because I've done them before. But that being said, you guys know what a family transition plan. It's the same thing for our veterans. If you're doing a family transition plan, maybe again a scenario could be the veteran has no longer has access to doesn't have physical mobility, and they might have 4 children, and the other parent is a nurse and is working on shift work, and the veteran who is having difficulty moving might also have PTSD and might be having nightmares and might be needing support, and then we might be leaning on community services or neighbors to help them with this transition into civilian community, okay? So I just made up a really complex case right there, but we see them and they need help. And the ultimate goal, if we look at the logic model of the MOU, is a successful transition. And what does that look like? So maybe a successful transition for this family is that family transition plan. Maybe they just need someone to write down, what are you going to do if your 2-year-old, you go at a hotel and they eat your medication, okay, because you travel a lot and you don't know what to do. Then maybe in the Veteran Family Journal, there is a medication log. And that's where you say, you know what, you really need to write your medication in there, or you need a printout of your, like the pharmacy gives you a printout of all the meds that you're on. You need to staple that in your journal, and you need to carry that everywhere that you go. That will create safety for your family, and everything will be okay. Sorry, Denise wrote, sorry, there is background noise from a participant. For us? We'll figure it out. From us? Are you okay, Denise? Maybe we should do a transition plan for Webex. I'm sorry.
Is the background noise gone now?
Thank you. I think someone might need to mute.
Okay, so if those people on teleconference
can
actually mute your line unless you're talking, it's *69. And it's *69 to unmute as well.
Okay. So do we have questions for the family transition plan?
Yes, from Varsity, we have a question.
Okay.
We're wondering, because a lot of that piece is done by the OLF.
Okay, the flow.
The flow, yeah. So we're wondering if you want us to capture this in that new section or into that personal growth development.
No, I wanted it, so if the flow is doing this, then it needs to be captured in the family transition plan. It's a way of us proving that we are taking that extra step in ensuring a successful transition. Okay?
But what if she does some intervention work with a client, which is regular social work, and then in another session she plans on doing the transition plan with this particular client. We captured this specific client into personal growth, and then we also capture this same client into this transition plan section, which makes this client being what's the word? Reported in two different sections, but it's not two clients, it's the same person.
Exactly. So what's happening is that we're not going to be adding them up. They're not going to be in your totals. This is a separate section. So when we're going to be looking at your Word documents, when you're sending them back to us, we're not going to be adding the family transition plan to your total amount of clients, right? We're just going to be looking at, oh wow, Kathy, you had 25 family transition plans this month. I'm not looking at how many clients you're, like this is separate. It's not in this section. It's not calculated in the first section for us.
Perfect, thanks.
Okay.
That says,
oui.
One of the things I do when I meet with clients that are transitioning is we talk a lot about finances, and we start planning for how are you going to survive the period where there's no money coming in and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Is that considered a family transition plan? Like we talk about, are you going to be able to pay your mortgage, buy groceries, that kind of stuff?
Yeah. Are you, well basically, is that something that they need?
Yes, because it's a huge, we're having a huge issue in Trenton with people not having enough money to survive until they start getting money.
The money, yeah. And
so I asked everybody that question. Some people are like, no, we're good, and then I wouldn't consider that a transition plan, but then I have some people that actually go through stuff with them.
Yeah, if you're going through, if you're going through that and you're creating a plan for them, and for them the plan is about finances, because not everybody has kids. right? Not everybody has a spouse, but they might still need a plan, and it might be a financial one, right? So you would write it in this section, that you did create a plan. We call it a family transition plan, but I mean, that's why we have veteran, spouse, children, youth, right? So who's involved in this plan?
Right. And the same with, I'll have spouses come in that are worried about their spouse being home all day by themselves, so I help them connect with volunteer services to, like, if the spouse is going to go volunteer, would that also be considered a transition plan?
Basically, you're referring to peer support, right?
No,
So,
I don't think I am. Maybe I am. So I'll give you an example. I had one lady who came in, her husband was going to be home all day sitting in the basement, but really enjoyed helping out with pets. Okay. So I connected them with VIQ so that he could volunteer at the FCCA. That was kind of the plan so that she didn't have to worry about him being home all the time.
So you did a transition plan.
Thank you. Okay, I just want to make sure I understand it. Okay.
Yes. Yes, those are all. It doesn't really matter how you do the plan, but if you're doing a plan, then that's showing us that we're putting things in place for a successful transition.
Okay, thank you. That makes lots of sense.
No problem.
Hi, Rochelle. Just to confirm, you said that the column under the family transition plan is not added back to the beginning numbers, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, we're not going to be adding them. That's the part that we didn't, because the document is so big, we didn't add what we're calculating. We gave you the questions as to what we're looking for, but we didn't. If you saw the spreadsheet that we created for compiling all of this data that we're asking, it's huge. It's very, very big, and we figured we would spare you
from having a stroke.
That pain, really. So we kept it to that, and we know what we need to calculate, or what we need to add and what we don't need to add, and we just leave the numbers as is. Okay? We just did it to simplify your lives and ours, I guess. I was completely selfish when I did it. Yes. Okay? Do you have any more questions? Okay, we're going to skip to the next section. So a referral to VAC. So, all referrals to VAC need to be documented. And I want to know the reason. So, well, not I, we need to know the reason. And why we need to know the reason is there might be a common theme. So, for example, if you have 20 people walking in your door and saying, I am struggling financially and I am now homeless, and we know VAC offers these services and we're referring to VAC, but we see that there's that theme in, let's say, Trenton, then that's something that we can pick up on and that we can inform VAC that, you know what, you have a big homeless population in Trenton. Maybe we need to up those services, or you guys can do whatever you want, but we're at least informing. I'm saying you because you're sitting in front of me, but they can figure out maybe we need more help in that area. So what if VAC is referring to us? Good question. So write it down. Write it down in reason. So just, actually, do you guys want to know if you guys are referring to us? Is that something that you're... Okay, because technically in our stats, we're not asking if VAC is referring back to us. That would actually be a partnership. So yes, that's it, Tina. We've been getting a lot of referrals from VAC here. Okay, so the answer, so Tina, you're right. You do capture it under stakeholders. Yes. Okay, we have been getting a lot. Okay, perfect. Does that answer the question? I don't remember who asked the question, but... Hello?
Did that answer your question? We can't hear you on the phone. You might need to *69 in order to unmute.
We might have to sing Adele. Can you hear me? Sorry. It's so serious, Dad. You have to add a joke.
Okay. It answered my question. Okay, so
okay.
She wrote in the chat. Perfect.
Thanks, Tina. Okay, so then the next section is referral to MFRC services. So often we refer back to our own services. So the Veteran Family Coordinator is referring back to the flow, the employment counselor. So they're all broken down here. So really, it's the Veteran Family Coordinator who's referring back to our MFRC services. Okay? Do you have any more questions for this piece? I'm just skipping through the referrals to, now it's broken down to right up to other. Okay, the next section is referral to community services. Again, it's like what we spoke about before, where if you're referring to the Boys and Girls Club for youth, then you would write the number of clients referred, and then if it's a new client, then you write that down, and then the reason. So you might have more than one, so you do that for each. So you have, and if you have more than 3 referrals, then you just copy paste that table and write number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7. Okay, so you don't write all your referrals in one table. That's why there's 3 tables to start with. If you have more than 3, then you just add to it. Does that make sense? Okay, so here you see briefings, partnerships, and outreach. I know if you're looking at it, well, you should be looking at the latest version, the one that Jonathan sent. Now that's at the bottom with referrals. I think we spoke a lot about it today already, so really the scans fall under briefings, partnerships, and outreach. Everything is kind of broken down there. Is there any questions with regards to briefing, partnerships, and outreach? Okay.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, I can now.
Okay, sorry, I wasn't sure if I unmuted myself. So the example that I used before about a briefing to a civilian group, it's not targeting any one demographic. It's like it's a committee. The example I'm thinking of was a committee that comprised of like North Bay City Police, Social Services Administration Board, Children's Aid, the hospital, a bunch of community service providers that come together to try and bridge gaps in the community and asked for a presentation on our program. So it wasn't targeted to any one group.
So then you would be it would be one, but you provided information, right, at this briefing?
Mm-hmm.
So you would write one briefing, then you would name and reason. Don't write the number of participants. It's one briefing, and it was basically to bridge gaps, right? So it's also a partnership, partnership and stakeholders. So you could also put it in, like in this scenario, I would put it under stakeholders.
Okay, but am I collecting it under transitioning member or?
Oh, you mean that section? I would put it outside VFC because it's not relevant to our veteran, it's not to the medically releasing veteran. Yes, it can bridge that gap, but it's also outside of the norm, right? And then with your explanation, we're able to make sense of it.
Okay.
Do we have any more questions? star 619?
Star 69.
Oh, sorry. Star 69 to unmute and to mute, okay? All right, so file case management. Really, this section is really important for the veteran family coordinators. This tells us the number of clients you see and the number of clients that you serve. It justifies your position, your role in which you work in. So, example, if you, a scenario that actually was brought up this week that I thought I would share because I thought it was interesting. So if you have a couple that you're serving and they can, so if you have a couple and they're coming to see you for a service, they could either be, I'm just going to go back to the top slide here so that you guys can see how it's broken down. So a couple could be seen as one file, or it could be divided by number of clients. So I know some locations you have one file per client, and other locations that can vary. So if you're seeing a couple and it's a file, well, you write the number of clients. So it's one under veteran and one under spouse. Because technically you should be having two files. The next session, the next time they see you, the spouse can come and see you individually, or the veteran can come and see you individually. So then that captures how many people you're actually serving. You're not just serving one, you're serving two. They're couples. So yes. Do you have any questions for file case management?
Oui. It's more raising a concern because I hear you about justify the position. I just want to know how you're going to use that information, since it's, myself, it's more about justifying the whole program itself, not just a position. So what this information will be, as you said earlier, like be in addition to other things when you're going to make sense out of those numbers?
Well, this is what, because technically, this is how it can be seen. Maybe veterans go through the door and they don't need to see a veteran family coordinator. Maybe they need to just see the admin assistant and say, you know what, I need employment services, and I don't need to see someone specifically. But we're seeing the burden of effort in all the other stats that veteran family coordinators are needed to help with this transition, because what we know is that veterans are and their families are overwhelmed with information, and they need help being guided through this transition. And that's the role of the veteran family coordinator, is to help with the transition in making sense of all the information and providing guidance. Right? They're not counselors. They're information referrals. They do outreach. So
indeed, but if they have also that access to an employment counselor or a mental health counselor, that other piece of guidance will be made by this counselor, not through necessarily the CFC, because the family won't, they already have a trust relationship built with someone within the MFRC staff.
Yes, but we also need to justify why we have a veteran family coordinator.
If I may, I don't really know how all the time that we spent in building this project and, you know, capturing stats and writing some reports or any kind of stuff that we do besides meeting with clients, it is not recorded anywhere, and that's a question that I have in regards to how we can justify our positions only regarding the number of files that we have.
We're not justifying your position only with this section. This helps in justifying it. It doesn't say, oh yeah, you only saw one client, sorry, we're not going to service you, right? Like, that's not how it's going to work. That's not how it works. It's going to work. So it helps to be honest, it's a compilation of everything. It's not just one section that's going to determine if the pilot is valid or not. It's not just stats, it's the finance, it's different outcomes that will determine yes or no, right? And we're not in the, like right now we're being audited, so we don't know. We're not, I'm sorry here, but I'm putting you guys on the spot. We're not back. We're not able to say what we'll say yes or no. And I don't think that the people here who are representing back know either. I don't, sorry, I'm kind of speaking, but I don't think we know the all-in-all answer. For this section, though, it's an extra step to show what you guys are doing.
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure if all the other kind of work that we do are considered.
Oh, definitely it is.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, and that's a great point, and that's one thing I wanted to reiterate from Rachel, that we are taking into context all of the stats, because really when I know I've mentioned this with the service delivery stats before, stats are supposed to be for making good decisions at the strategic level. So what these will help us to do is see, okay, what proportion of your population that you're serving are parents versus children versus spouses versus veterans. And then it'll also give us a breakdown in terms of, okay, well, you may have fewer veterans than some other locations, but you're seeing them 10 times more than those other locations. So it gives us an idea of what the population at that particular location needs to make the kind of strategic decisions in terms of do we need to modify the types of programs or services that we're offering? Do we need to offer you guys more training on a particular aspect of the demographics that seem to be changing? Those kinds of things. So really these stats, I'd avoid looking at them as sort of a performance assessment, so to speak, of how well you're doing your job, but more as this is it should be a reflection of your life as a veteran family coordinator and the demographics and the demographics you're serving and the services you're offering, so that we have a good, accurate picture of what's going on in those communities, and we can offer you guys the support you need, as well as offering the veteran families the programs and services that they need. Does that make sense? I hear crickets. Does that make sense? Oh, I guess everybody's muted their line. But let us know if, because definitely we don't want to cause any more angst around stats, and we don't want to feed the rumor mill that stats are being used as some sort of disciplinary measure or anything like that. This is being used to give us a sense of what's going on in those locations, right? Because we get the stories from you guys, but this gives us an actual quantitative picture in addition to the qualitative stuff that we've got. So, so please let us know if you're getting the sense that, is this being used in some way to punish us or anything like that? Because we want to make sure that we allay your fears in that regard. And then if you have any staff at the local level who also have that impression, I'm happy to set up Webexes with them to sort of explain the purpose of the stats as well.
Thank you, Jonathan, for the clarification. It helps me for sure. I have another question, and tell me if it's okay, or if you don't have the answers as well, that's okay. Is there some data from the year one that you've been able to make those des traits communs ou des faits, des choses que vous êtes capable de sortir des stats de l'an 1 qui sont intéressantes, qui peuvent nous motiver à donner beaucoup de détails dans l'an 2?
Mais présentement, on peut pas le So the question is, is there data or information in year one that we could share with you to motivate the team as to what we're doing and things like that? So yes, there is, but right now we're in the audit phase, so we're just waiting to share the information. We're completing it, and instead of giving something that's not complete, we're waiting for it to be complete before sharing. So yes, and it will come eventually. I think it's going to probably, the sharing of it will probably start at the working group meeting in a couple weeks from now. There is going to be a presentation about it, and then it'll be shared, but we just want to complete our reports before giving it to you guys. Okay? I'm just looking at the time. We have 5 minutes left, and I have someone waiting at the door who I think wants to come in at 2. So we're almost done, and I'm just gonna, I don't want to make you guys feel like you're rushed through this. If we need to set up another Webex, we will, but I can also answer the questions individually, or Jonathan can. I'm still here for another week, so you guys can still call me. So that being said, I think it's clear for the file case management. The next step is the administration part, so the promotional items, creation of materials, number of marketing materials received from MFS. I feel like this is kind of clear. It says exactly what you need to put in. Do you guys have any questions with this regard, like for the administration A piece, with regards to promo items? Do we have any questions? Okay, it's kind of silent. Awareness, so the how people became aware of the program, this is also very important for us to know. It's kind of clear, so if it's a word of mouth or MFRC staff, those are things that we've already looked at with flyers for our, oh, sorry, Trish, you have a question. If I am putting out 500 flyers for our family scan and I'm recording it here, oh, yes. So you're putting it out. So creation of material, so materials pushed out without request. So nobody asked you to put out 500 flyers. You would put it in section, so it's A3, materials pushed out without request. Can you just, okay, perfect. Thanks, Trish. So awareness, again, how people became aware of the program. And then the next section is staff hours dedicated to the program. Again, it's kind of, it says what we're looking for. If you guys have questions, now's the time.
Hi, Rachel. Again, I did have a question that I sent you on email about the staffing hours, the difference between staffing hours and the program hours.
Yes, so program hours, so if you look at the guidance piece on top, program hours are defined as hours spent on the delivery of veteran family program, which includes program planning, program delivery, and program evaluation. It doesn't include the administrative activities. So, meetings not related to planning, delivery, accounting, auditing, insurance, office management, human resource, those things are not part of the program hours. Okay. Which is the same as the MFSP stats survey that you received last May. So it's what's dedicated to program hours. So this month, you guys should have less program hours because you've been focusing on that. That's an admin piece. So that's my little joke.
But it's evaluation of the program.
Pardon me?
It's evaluation of the program?
Yeah, it's really looking at the evaluation of the program hours.
That is an evaluation of the program.
Yes, it is actually.
Okay.
Sorry, my joke just created confusion.
Okay, so my understanding of what the regular stats that we received in May, the same understanding should go along with this one.
Yes, it is. You're correct. Yes.
Good.
Do you have any more questions? Well, I think that completes our stats. It really does, yeah. Just making sure, and then we have examples. Do we have any other questions with regards to this? Cricket? Oh. Okay. So, again, if you do have questions that come along the way, please feel free to contact Jonathan. But then for the next week, you can contact me. So until next Friday, you can contact me, and then after that, you get to contact Jonathan on stats. Okay?
And like we said at the beginning of the session there, if you do have staff who are interested in setting up other Webexes or teleconferences and whatnot, we're happy to do that as well. And hopefully all of this stuff will be up on the website fairly soon as background material for them, so that you'll always be able to go to that one location where the latest materials will be, including videos and documents and these kinds of guidance materials.
All right. Well, thank you. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. I hope this helped, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Okay?
Thanks, folks.
Do I just click that? Oh, I don't know about the recording. What do I do?